Now, this one is about the sculptors and how they are sculpting us the way they want. The infatuation with the skull and the brain and the statue and the human head, and why voodoo practitioners use small heads. What about the French and the British in West Africa? Or the Portuguese trading all throughout the 15th century? Why did you have French vessels using pirates to destabilize the region in Algeria, and then sending a force in to so-called bring in order, to restore the order? Of course, you had the Danes and the many different European countries and interests that were competing with each other, but they were all on the same page, is that this is a racket, and we're running the racket, and we're going to find some kind of median, some kind of agreement where we can all extort Africa at the same time, and every once in a while we fight with each other, but it always goes back to the racket, and we make peace. So from the Senegal River, down the Cape, and the Dutch colonies at the Cape of Good Hope, it doesn't stop the colonialism of the Europeans in Africa. Whether you're talking about the 15th century or the 1880s, or the French having their war, why we're having our civil war. Okay, they're having their war in Africa, securing their interests. Everybody's playing their part to bring in Weishaupt's plan and making themselves rich in the process, to make themselves more formidable allies to the scum of the New World Order. So whether you're talking about the estuaries and the trading stations of the French, or whether you're talking about the British establishments like in Freetown and Sierra Leone, you have to understand that these people are using rivers, they're using mind control, they're using religious establishment, they're using technology. And they're taking advantage of the chaos in Africa that already exists and creating more, to the point where they can intervene and take credit for bringing in peace. So remember, why the French, one of their main rivals are the British, but they have temporary agreements, and they declare certain territories protectorates. Like, say, the Ivory Coast. You have the military-industrial complex at work there. We have the French traders, followed by military expeditions. And you see that there's a resistance the whole time. Whether we're talking about peanuts or chocolate or the rubber trade, there are traders, there are scum. And it's no coincidence that trader sounds like traitor. It's no coincidence that France was trying to establish a presence on the Niger, and they reached Timbuktu in 1894. 14 years before psychiatry is officially coined and established by Johann Christian Reil. What are they doing here? They're going after the knowledge, dumbing you down, using everything at their disposal and throwing it at you. They're throwing the book at you. You want to know what it means to throw the book at you? It means to use every trick in the book, and that's what they did in the Gold Coast, in Britain, in France, the Niger River. The traders, the extortionists, the bankers, the people who go in to create chaos and to devalue the currency, the saboteurs. The Europeans and the Netherlands are the ones who coined the term. It's the Europeans. and how they divide up Africa, Germany, France, French Equatorial Africa, Spanish Western Sahara, etc. What are they up to? What have they always been up to? Death, extortion, money lending, trading. They have visions and visionaries and manifest fucking destiny. You have to understand what is going on. There are heroes and there are villains. And thought is watching them both. Let's take Chad, for instance. It becomes part of the French Equatorial Africa, and it's separated from Ubangi Sherry, right? You have to understand what is going on. Why the French were in Algeria from 1827 to 1936. How they use, we're going to talk about consignment and wheat, and how they fuck you over using your own national resources and food. And why the Algerians had different revolts. And Charles X had to stick up his ass and orders a naval blockade of the Algerian coast. Because they're controlling the trade routes. Controlling the flow of food, the flow of bread and butter and money and gold and rubber. Natural resources. Why did you have people resisting them? This guy named Abdel Kader declares a jihad and calls it a holy war against them. Holding out. Like the city of Constantine. People holding out against the colonialist scum who seek to only share their technology at the price of control over what they need. They'll give you what you don't need. It's going to ruin your environment and your land and your culture in exchange for everything you have that's worth anything, including your women and your self-respect. You think these people are playing with you? You think they were playing with Patrice Lumumba? Do you think they were playing? When the French and the socialists and the Germans and the Portuguese and the Dutch are all extorting you at the same fucking time, pickpocketing you with fucking a bunch of cocksuckers using two hands. Cocksuckers. Why was Tunisia even a French protectorate? 1881 to 1934. They colonized, then they liberate them all at the same time during the 60s when the blacks are having their liberation movement in America as well. And the hippies. And protesting the war in Vietnam. Why weren't they protesting the war in Africa? All the countries in Africa are getting extorted. Getting robbed all throughout history. They're using pirates, and they're using legitimate means. They're using coercion, and they're using their legitimate powers. Understand what's going on. They use their technology. They use their fucking experts like the psychiatrists and all the other cocksuckers they have at their disposal. They analyze, strategize, plot, scheme, conspire, and collude. And the result is they rewrite history after invading Egypt in Timbuktu, like Muhammad. In 632 AD, he passes away, and then his people start invading everywhere. It's the Arab slave traders and the French riding camels around as well. All throughout the 1900s. What happened since 1900 and all the way up to 2001? When 9/11 happened. Well, in 1900, France and Italy signed a secret fucking agreement giving Morocco to France and Libya to Italy. They've been trying to take Libya since the 1900s and before. Why do you think they set up Gaddafi and destabilize the region, this time using terrorists instead of pirates? Because the terrorists are the modern day pirates. That's why in Somalia you have terrorist pirates. It's the same idea. The instruments of SETI. think about it. Think about it. The post-war economies of countries that are so-called liberated, and the rise in the nationalist sentiment that means nothing compared to the scheme they have in place unfolding in the process. The manifestos, the declarations of independence, they're all a facade. They're all super fucking official. The banker's declaration of we got you, and we're going to pretend you got a little bit of rights. Why was Charles de Gaulle the fucking wood, pretending to be a war hero and a friend? You know, this guy thinks he's the hero. He thinks he's the hero, and Chukwu Emeka isn't the fucking hero. That's what the cocksucker thinks. I got news for you, de Gaulle. You went down in history as a piece of shit. You understand me? Of shit. And every Algerian fucking knows it. Every North African knows it. Even the ones that can't fucking read. You're a piece of shit. And I spit on your fucking grave. You fuck. He gives him a choice. I'll give you a choice. Once we're done fucking destabilizing your fucking region, we'll give you a choice. Let's forget whose tribes it was in the Neolithic area in 8000 BCE to 3000 BCE. Let's forget that the Berbers don't emerge until 2000 BCE, and let's pretend it was a bunch of woods that had the original dynasties. Bullshit. Bullshit. Even history.fucking.net agrees that my timeline when it comes to the Berbers. They don't know where they came from because they came from black people. And I got news for you, you colonial scum. It was the battle at Ibo that the Cuban troops put a huge fucking sequoia tree up the ass. The fucking ass of the colonist fascist fucking South African scum. Let's not forget. Let's not forget the English Commonwealth countries still bootlicking to the fucking royal families and the Vatican. Oh, it goes deep. South Africa was the instrument they were using to destabilize Southern Africa. And they were going to work their way up from there. But the communists stepped in because they decided it was a good time to make themselves look good and the man look bad. But all foreign interests are bad. All bankers are bad. All cocksuckers, Chinese, Arab, American, British, French, German, Dutch, Belgian, they're all cocksuckers when it comes to extortion. Don't forget that.